Commander Jiwoo Park stood by the large window of Earth's Space Defense Center. The stars looked peaceful, but Jiwoo knew better. Something was coming. The radar screens had been showing strange signals for days now. "Commander, we have movement at the edge of our solar system," said Lieutenant Taeho Kim. His voice was shaking. Jiwoo walked to the main screen. "Show me." The screen lit up with images of large ships. They were not human ships. They were bigger than anything Earth had ever built. Their dark metal bodies reflected no light, making them look like moving shadows against the stars. "How many?" Jiwoo asked. "We count 50 large vessels, Commander, and hundreds of smaller ones," replied Taeho. Admiral Hyun Choi entered the room. His old face showed worry. "Are they responding to our messages?" "No, Admiral. We've been sending greetings for 3 hours. They stay silent." Just then the main screen flickered. A face appeared, but not a human face. It had scales instead of skin, yellow eyes with thin black lines instead of round pupils, and no nose, just 2 small holes above a wide mouth. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, "I am Supreme Commander Vrax of the Terok Empire. Your planet is now under our control. We have already taken your outer colonies. Mars fell 2 days ago. The moon base surrendered this morning." Jiwoo's heart sank. Earth had lost contact with Mars, but they thought it was just a communication problem. The moon base had over 5,000 people. "What do you want?" Admiral Hyun asked. "Your resources. Your planet. Your people will serve the Empire or die. You have 48 hours to surrender." The screen went dark. The room was silent. Then Admiral Hyun spoke. "We need to call an emergency meeting with all world leaders. And we need to contact Dr. Minho Lee, the quantum physicist?" Jiwoo asked. "Why him?" "Because," Admiral Hyun said quietly, "he's been working on something that might be our only hope. It's called Operation Twilight." Within hours, the Terok ships moved closer. They stopped just beyond the reach of Earth's defense satellites. People all over Earth could see them now, dark shapes blocking the stars. World leaders gathered through video calls. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted to surrender. But all went quiet when Admiral Hyun explained what the Terok had done to the colony on Mars. No one survived. Over 1 million people gone in a day. "We don't have weapons that can hurt their ships," Admiral Hyun explained. "But we do have one option. Dr. Minho Lee has been working on a special project. It's not a weapon in the normal sense. It's something different." On the screen, Dr. Minho appeared. He looked tired, his lab coat wrinkled. "The Terok use advanced computers to run their ships. These computers are connected to each other. We can use this against them." "How?" asked the President of the United States. "We send them a message they can't understand," Dr. Minho said. "A message that will confuse their computers so badly that the ships won't work anymore. Can you do this in time?" asked Jiwoo. Dr. Minho looked down. "I need more time. The math is very complex. We have the idea, but making it work, I need at least 3 days." "We have less than 2, Admiral Hyun said. "You'll have to work faster." Outside, people were panicking. Some tried to leave big cities. Others stayed home with their families. News stations showed the alien ships all day. Religious leaders called for prayer. Scientists tried to understand the alien technology. Military forces around the world prepared for a fight they knew they couldn't win. Jiwoo walked to the communication room. "I need to send a message to the Terok ships." Taeho looked surprised. "But Admiral Hyun ordered radio silence." "I know. But I have an idea. We need to buy more time." Jiwoo pressed the button to send a message. "Supreme Commander Vrax, this is Commander Jiwoo Park of Earth Defense. We wish to discuss your terms. We need more time to prepare our people. Please give us 5 days instead of 2. For a long time, there was no answer. Then the screen showed Vrax's face again. "You will have 3 days, Commander Park. Not because I am kind, but because it will give us time to position our ships. When the time ends, you will surrender or be destroyed." The screen went dark again. Jiwoo smiled slightly. "That's 1 more day for Dr. Minho." Admiral Hyun entered the room, his face angry. "You broke my orders, Commander." "Yes, sir. I got us 1 more day." Admiral Hyun's anger faded. "Good work. Now we need to plan. The Terok don't know about Operation Twilight. We need to keep it that way. And we need to get all their ships in position when we activate it." "How do we do that, sir?" "We make them think they're winning. We show just enough fight to make them bring their whole fleet close to Earth. Then when they're all here..." Admiral Hyun's eyes were hard. We show them what happens when you cross the line with humanity. Deep under the city of Seoul, Dr. Minho Lee hadn't slept in 30 hours. His eyes burned, and his hands shook as he typed complex equations into his computer. Around him, 20 scientists worked just as hard, their faces showing the same tired determination. "How's the progress?" asked Dr. Sora Kang, walking up with 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to Minho. "Thank you," he said, taking a big drink. "It's not good. The quantum algorithm is too complex. If we get even one number wrong, it won't work. Or worse, it might hurt our systems instead of theirs." Sora looked at the main screen, which showed a strange pattern of numbers and symbols. "What exactly will this do to them?" Minho rubbed his eyes. "Their ships use artificial intelligence to work. These AIs think in very logical ways. Our algorithm creates a problem that has no logical answer, like asking a computer to divide by 0, but much more complex. When their systems try to solve it, they'll get stuck in an endless loop and shut down." "And you're sure it won't affect our computers?" "Our computers aren't connected the same way, and they're much simpler. It's like a complex riddle that would confuse a genius but wouldn't bother a child who doesn't even try to solve it." Above them, the city of Seoul was mostly empty. Most people had left for the countryside, hoping to be safer there. Those who stayed were either too poor to leave or had jobs that were too important to abandon. One of those people was Yuna Bae, the youngest scientist on Minho's team. She was only 25 but was already known as a math genius. How she stood up from her computer with wide eyes. "Dr. Minho, I think I found something." Minho hurried over. "What is it?" "Look at these numbers. If we change this part of the equation..." She typed quickly and the pattern on her screen shifted. "It becomes much simpler, but it should have the same effect." Minho stared at the screen, his tired mind trying to follow her work. Then he smiled. "Yuna, you're brilliant. This could save us hours of work." Just then the underground lab shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. "What was that?" Sora asked, looking up. The main communication screen turned on. Admiral Hyun's face appeared. "Dr. Minho, the Turok have started early. They're attacking major cities around the world. Seoul was just hit," Minho's heart raced. "But we had 3 days." "They lied," Admiral Hyun said simply. "How close are you to finishing?" "We've had a breakthrough. Maybe 12 more hours." Admiral Hyun shook his head. "You have 6 at most. After that, there won't be enough of our communication network left to send your message." The screen went dark. The lab shook again, harder this time. "Everyone, focus," Minho shouted over the noise. "Yuna, work with Sora to finish the algorithm. The rest of you, prepare the transmission system. We need to be ready the moment the equation is complete." For the next 5 hours, they worked as the world above them burned. Reports came in of Turok ships destroying cities across the globe. Military bases were the first targets, then government buildings, then power plants and water systems. "They're not just attacking," Sora said, watching the news reports. "They're making the planet unlivable for us but keeping the natural resources intact for themselves." Yuna didn't look up from her computer. "Then we need to stop them faster. The algorithm is at 89%. Another shake, stronger than before, made equipment fall from tables. A pipe burst in the ceiling, sending water spraying across one side of the lab. "Move the computers to the dry side," Minho ordered. "Keep working." 2 hours later, as part of the ceiling collapsed in one corner, Yuna jumped up from her seat. "It's done! The algorithm is complete." Minho rushed to check her work. He read through the equations, nodding slowly. "This will work. Now we need to package it for transmission." Just then, Admiral Hyun called again. His face was dirty and there was blood on his forehead. "The main defense center has been hit. We're moving to the backup facility." "How close are you?" "The algorithm is ready. We're preparing it for transmission now." "Good. Our plan is working. The Turok are bringing their whole fleet into Earth orbit. They think we're finished and they're getting ready to land troops. You'll have one chance to hit them all at once." Minho nodded. "We'll be ready." "How's the transmission network?" "Damaged but working. We've lost 40% of our satellites, but the remaining ones should be enough. Commander Park has a plan to use our remaining ships to draw the Turok into the perfect position." As they talked, Sora and the team worked to convert the algorithm into a transmittable signal. It wasn't just a simple radio message. It contained quantum information that could only be created with their special equipment. "Dr. Minho," Yuna called out, "we have a problem. The power requirements for the transmission are higher than our generators can provide. Minho thought quickly. The backup systems in the old nuclear plant. If we can connect to those... Too dangerous, Sora said. That area is probably being bombed right now. We don't have a choice, Minho replied. I'll go myself. Not alone, said Sora firmly. Minho looked at his team, feeling proud despite their desperate situation. Yuna, finish the transmission preparations. Sora and I will get the power we need. The rest of you secure this facility as best you can. As they prepared to leave, another call came in, not from Admiral Hyun, but from Commander Jiwoo Park. Her uniform was torn, and she looked exhausted. Dr. Minho, our pilots are moving into position. They'll draw the Turok ships into a tight formation around Earth. When you see them all gathered, that's when you need to send your message. You'll only get one chance. We'll be ready, Commander, Minho promised, hoping it was true. Above them, Earth's last fighters prepared for a mission from which they might never return. Captain Jiho Ryu's hands were steady on the controls of his fighter ship, even though his heart was racing. Around him, 11 other pilots formed a tight group. They were the last fighter squadron still intact after the first wave of Turok attacks. Phantom Squadron, check in, Jiho said into his helmet microphone. One by one, the pilots responded. They all sounded young. Most were under 30. Some had only finished flight training months ago, but they were all that was left. Remember the plan, Jiho told them. We're not trying to destroy the Turok ships. We can't. We just need to make them chase us and bring them into position. What if they don't chase us? Asked pilot Daehyun Kwan, the youngest at only 22. They will, Jiho said confidently. From what we've seen, they enjoy the hunt. They could have destroyed us from a distance, but they prefer to chase down our ships one by one. Colonel Nari Shin's voice came through their communication system. Phantom Squadron, this is Control. The Turok fleet is spreading out around Earth. We need you to make them cluster together over the Pacific Ocean. That's where our transmission will be strongest. Understood, Control, Jiho replied. We're moving into position now. The 12 fighters rose from their hidden base in the mountains of what used to be South Korea. Most of the country was in ruins now. The Turok had hit Seoul, Busan, and other major cities in their first attack wave. As they climbed higher, Jiho could see the destruction below. Fires burned across the landscape. The beautiful country he had grown up in was now scarred and broken. His family had lived near Busan. He had no idea if they were still alive. Stay focused, he told himself. Complete the mission. That's how you can help them now. The fighters broke through the clouds and into the upper atmosphere. Above them, the Turok ships looked like giant dark clouds blocking the stars. There were hundreds of them now, far more than the initial 50. The Turok had called in their entire fleet. There's so many, whispered pilot Mina Song. How can we possibly win against that? We don't have to defeat them all, Jiho reminded her. We just need to get them in position for Dr. Minho's weapon to work. Jiho checked his radar. I see a group of smaller Turok ships to the east. That's our target. Follow me and stay in formation. The 12 Earth fighters turned as one and flew toward the enemy. The Turok ships were busy dropping bombs on the ruins of Tokyo. They didn't notice the human fighters at first. Weapons hot, Jiho ordered. Fire on my mark and now. All 12 fighters fired their missiles at once. The missiles streaked toward the Turok ships, leaving trails of white smoke behind them. Most of the missiles were stopped by the Turok ships' energy shields, but a few got through, causing small explosions on the hulls of 2 ships. Pull up and away, Jiho shouted. Make them follow us. The Earth fighters turned sharply and raced away from the Turok ships. For a moment, Jiho feared the aliens would ignore them and continue bombing the city. Then his radar beeped a warning. They're following. 20 Turok fighters on our tail. Just as planned, said pilot Hana Chung, her voice tight with tension. Now we just have to stay alive long enough to lead them to the target area. The human fighters pushed their engines to maximum speed, shooting across the sky above the Sea of Japan. The Turok ships followed, gaining on them quickly. They're faster than us, Jiho noted. That's good. They'll think they have the advantage. Spread out into pairs now. Make them split their forces. The Earth fighters separated into 6 pairs, each flying in a different direction. The Turok ships did exactly what Jiho hoped. They split up to chase each pair. Now head for the rendezvous point, Jiho ordered. Stay low over the water to confuse their sensors. All 6 pairs of fighters dived down. skimming just above the waves of the Pacific Ocean. The Terok ships followed, firing energy weapons that turned seawater into steam where they hit. Jiho's radar showed more Terok ships joining the chase. 30 now. 40. Their plan was working. Control, this is Phantom Leader, Jiho reported. Phase 1 complete. Enemy ships are pursuing us toward the target area. Colonel Nari's voice came back, breaking up with static. Good work, Phantom. The main Terok fleet is responding too. They are moving to support their fighters. Keep them interested for 10 more minutes. 10 minutes. Jiho wasn't sure they would last that long. Already one of the Earth fighters had been hit, its right wing damaged by Terok fire. Mina, your wing is smoking, Jiho called. Can you maintain flight? I'm okay, she responded, though her voice showed strain. I can keep going. A blast of energy passed just over Jiho's cockpit, so close he felt the heat through the ship's hull. The Terok were getting better with their aim. Evasive maneuvers, he ordered. Don't fly straight. The Earth fighters began to weave and dodge, making themselves harder targets. But the Terok kept coming, more joining the chase every minute. Control, how much longer? Jiho asked, narrowly avoiding another energy blast. 5 minutes, came the reply. The main fleet is almost in position. Suddenly, Daehyun's voice came through in a panic. I'm hit. I'm hit. Jiho watched in horror as the young pilot's fighter spun out of control, trailing smoke. It crashed into the ocean with a splash that was quickly swallowed by the waves. Stay focused, Jiho said, forcing his voice to remain calm even as grief filled him. We're almost there. Above them, the sky was filling with Terok ships. The main fleet was moving into position, just as planned. They formed a rough sphere around Earth, with a concentration over the Pacific Ocean where the fighters were leading them. Control, how do we look? Jiho asked. Perfect, Colonel Nari replied. They're right where we want them. Dr. Minho is ready to transmit. Get your people out of there, Captain. You heard her, Jiho told his remaining pilots. Full power to engines. Head for the safe zone. The Earth fighters turned away from the Terok ships and pushed their engines beyond safe limits. Some of the Terok followed, but most stayed in position, preparing to finish the destruction of Earth's cities. As they flew away, Jiho looked back at the massive gathering of alien ships. Almost the entire Terok fleet was now positioned in a tight group above the Pacific Ocean, their weapons charging for what they thought would be the final attack on Earth. They think they've won, Jiho said quietly. They have no idea what's coming. In his damaged fighter, racing for safety with the others, Jiho allowed himself a small smile. The trap was set. Now it was time for Dr. Minho to spring it. Admiral Hyun Choi stood in the emergency command center deep under the mountains. It was the last secure military facility on Earth. Around him, the few remaining military leaders from countries around the world watched the main screen. It showed the positions of the Terok ships around Earth. They're gathering exactly where we want them, Admiral Hyun said. Captain Jiho's team has done their job perfectly. Commander Jiwoo Park nodded, her face showing both pride and worry. At a high cost. We've lost 3 fighters already. They knew the risks, Admiral Hyun said quietly, and their sacrifice will give us our one chance to strike back. The door opened and Lieutenant Taiho Kim rushed in. Sir, Dr. Minho reports they're ready to transmit, but they need more power. Where are they getting it from? Jiwoo asked. The old nuclear plant. Dr. Minho and Dr. Sora went there themselves to connect the systems. Admiral Hyun frowned. That area is under heavy attack. It's too dangerous. They didn't wait for permission, sir, Taiho replied. They're already there. At the old nuclear plant, Dr. Minho Lee and Dr. Sora Kang worked quickly. The building shook around them as Terok ships bombed the area. They had driven there in an old truck, navigating through streets filled with rubble and abandoned cars. The main power lines are through here, Sora said, leading the way down a dark corridor. Their flashlights made long shadows on the walls. Minho carried a heavy backpack full of equipment. The connection needs to be perfect. If there's any interruption during transmission, the algorithm won't work. They reached the main power room. The equipment was old but still working. The nuclear plant had been shut down years ago, but its backup systems were designed to last for decades. Let's hurry, Sora said, looking nervously at the ceiling as dust fell during another explosion outside. This place won't stand much longer. Minho opened his backpack and took out a complex device with many wires. This will connect our lab's transmission system to the plant's power. As they worked, they could hear the sounds of destruction outside getting closer. The Terok were bombing everything that had power or showed signs of technology. They know we're planning something, Minho said as he connected wires. They're trying to destroy our ability to fight back. They're too late, Sora replied, checking the power readings. We're almost ready. Back at the underground lab, Yunabei watched the final preparations for the transmission. The algorithm was loaded and ready. All they needed now was the extra power from the nuclear plant. Dr. Minho, what's your status? She asked through the communication system. Almost there, came his reply, breaking up with static. Power connection at 80%, 85%, 90%. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion on his end and the communication went silent. Dr. Minho? Dr. Sora? Yuna called, her heart racing. Are you there? For several long seconds, there was no answer. Then Minho's voice came back, weaker than before. We're still here. Part of the ceiling collapsed. Sora is hurt, but the connection is complete. You have full power now. Yuna checked her screens. The power levels were rising, reaching the needed amount for transmission. It's working, she told him. We're ready to transmit whenever Admiral Hyun gives the order. In the command center, Admiral Hyun watched as the Terok fleet moved into its final position. Almost every Terok ship was now within range of their transmission. Are our remaining fighters clear of the area? He asked. Jiwoo checked the radar. Yes, sir. Captain Jiho got them to safety. They're the only military aircraft we have left. Admiral Hyun nodded slowly. Then it's time. Send the order to Dr. Minho's team. Tell them to transmit. As Jiwoo moved to send the message, the main screen flickered. The scaled face of Supreme Commander Vrax appeared. People of Earth, the alien said, his voice cold. Your time has ended. Your resistance was pointless. Your planet is now property of the Terok Empire. Admiral Hyun stepped forward. We're not finished yet. Vrax made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your military is destroyed. Your cities are burning. What possible threat could you still pose? Instead of answering, Admiral Hyun looked at Jiwoo. Send the order. Now. Jiwoo pressed the button on her console. Transmission authorized. Dr. Minho, you may fire when ready. In the lab under Seoul, Yuna received the message. This is it, she told her team. Starting transmission in 3, 2, 1. She pressed the activation button. The lab hummed with power as the quantum device came to life. On her screen, she could see the algorithm being converted into a transmission that would reach every Terok ship. Transmission active, she reported. Signal strength at maximum. At the nuclear plant, Minho and Sora watched their equipment. The power flowed through their connection, giving the lab what it needed. It's working, Minho said, holding Sora's hand. She was lying on the floor, her leg trapped under fallen concrete. Just a little longer. In the command center, everyone watched the main screen in silence. For a few seconds, nothing seemed to happen. The Terok ships remained in position, their weapons still charging. Did it fail? Someone asked quietly. Then one by one, the lights on the Terok ships began to flicker. Their weapons powered down. Some ships started to drift out of position. On the screen, Supreme Commander Vrax looked confused. He barked orders to someone off-screen, then turned back with growing anger. What have you done? He demanded. What is this signal you're sending? Admiral Hyun allowed himself a small smile. We introduced your ships to something you've never encountered before. A problem with no solution. Stop this at once, Vrax shouted as the lights behind him flickered and went dark. No, Admiral Hyun said simply. You came to our home. You killed our people. Now you pay the price for crossing that line. The screen went dark as the Terok communication system failed. On the radar, they could see the alien ships drifting, their engines and weapons offline. It worked, Jiwoo whispered, hardly daring to believe it. It actually worked. Admiral Hyun turned to face the room. Send the message to all remaining Earth forces. The Terok ships are vulnerable. Attack now with everything we have left. High above Earth, the Terok fleet drifted helplessly. Their advanced systems had encountered Dr. Minho's quantum algorithm and were caught in an endless loop trying to solve it. Ship after ship lost power as their computers shut down. Inside his flagship, Supreme Commander Vrax raged at his officers. Fix this! Restart the systems. Cut off the signal. We cannot, Commander, replied his chief engineer. The signal has infected all our networks. Our ships cannot communicate with each other without spreading it further. Vrax had never known defeat. The Terok Empire had conquered 17 worlds before reaching Earth. None had offered this kind of resistance. How? He demanded. How could these primitives do this to us? On Earth, the counterattack began. Captain Jiho Ryu led his remaining fighters back toward the disabled Turok fleet. All pilots target their engine sections, he ordered. They can't shoot back now. The Earth fighters fired their remaining missiles at the drifting Turok ships. Without their energy shields, the alien vessels were surprisingly vulnerable. Explosions bloomed across their dark hulls. Around the world, military forces that had been in hiding emerged. Artillery fired at Turok ships that had landed. Soldiers attacked alien ground forces that were now cut off from their command systems. In the lab under Seoul, Yuna and her team cheered as they watched the radar. It's working. Their ships are falling. At the nuclear plant, Minho and Sora listened to the reports on their small radio. We did it, Sora said, smiling despite the pain from her injured leg. Your algorithm worked. Minho nodded, looking tired but happy. Not just my algorithm. Everyone's work. Especially Yuna's breakthrough. The building shook again, but not from bombing this time. A damaged Turok ship was falling from orbit, breaking apart as it entered the atmosphere. We should get out of here, Minho said, looking at the ceiling. Can you walk if I help you? Sora tried to move but winced in pain. I'll try. Carefully, Minho lifted the concrete from her leg and helped her stand. They made their way slowly through the damaged building, supporting each other. Outside, the sky was filled with falling debris from Turok ships. It looked almost like shooting stars, beautiful, if you didn't know what they really were. In the command center, Admiral Hyun watched the radar as more and more Turok ships were destroyed or disabled. We're winning, Jiwoo said, sounding surprised. We're actually winning, Admiral Hyun nodded. The algorithm did more than just shut down their ships. It showed us their weakness. They depend too much on their technology. Without it, they're lost. Should we try to communicate with them? Asked Taiho. Maybe they want to surrender. Yes, Admiral Hyun decided. Prepare a message. But this time, we'll set the terms. As Earth forces continued to attack the helpless Turok fleet, a message was sent to all alien ships. Commander Jiwoo Park's face appeared on screens throughout the fleet. Attention, Turok forces. This is Commander Jiwoo Park of Earth. Your ships are disabled. Your invasion has failed. You have two choices. Leave our solar system immediately or be destroyed completely. In his damaged flagship, Supreme Commander Vrax watched the human woman with hatred. His ship had partial power now, enough to receive messages but not enough to fight or even move quickly. We cannot retreat, his second-in-command advised. We've lost almost 40% of our fleet already. The Empire will consider this a disgrace. The Empire will never know, Vrax decided. Because we will not retreat. Prepare the final protocol. Commander, his officer said, alarmed. That would destroy this entire ship and everyone on it. I know, Vrax replied. But it will also destroy this planet and everyone on it. If we cannot have Earth, no one will. On the flagship's bridge, Vrax activated a special control panel. It required his personal code and DNA to unlock. Inside was a single red button. The humans think they've won, he said bitterly. But they will pay the ultimate price for defying the Turok Empire. Back on Earth, radar operators noticed a change in the flagship's energy readings. Admiral, one called out. The main Turok ship is showing a power spike. Something's happening. Admiral Hyun looked at the readings and his face went pale. That's a planet-killer weapon charging. They're going to destroy Earth rather than admit defeat. Can we stop it? Jiwoo asked, her voice tight with fear. Not from here, Admiral Hyun replied. We need to destroy that flagship before they can fire. Captain Jiho received the urgent message. The Turok flagship must be destroyed immediately. It's preparing to fire a weapon that could destroy Earth. Jiho looked at his instruments. His fighter had just 2 missiles left, and they might not be powerful enough to destroy such a large ship. I'll have to hit it directly, he realized. He opened the communication channel to his remaining pilots. This is Captain Jiho. The Turok flagship is preparing a final attack. I'm going to take it out. Captain, what do you mean? Asked Mina, her voice concerned. I'm going to fly directly into their main power core, Jiho explained calmly. With my weapons armed, it should create enough of an explosion to destroy the ship. There was silence on the channel. They all understood what he was saying. I'll go, Mina offered. My ship is already damaged. No, Jiho said firmly. This is my responsibility. The rest of you need to get clear. That's an order. Without waiting for more arguments, Jiho turned his fighter toward the Turok flagship. He pushed his engines to maximum speed, aiming for the glowing section at the rear of the massive ship. Control. "This is Captain Jiho Ryu," he reported, making my final approach to the Terok flagship. In the command center, Jiwoo and Admiral Hyun heard his message with heavy hearts. "Captain, Thank you for your service," Admiral Hyun said, his voice breaking slightly. "It has been an honor, sir," Jiho replied. "Please tell my family if they survived. Tell them I did this for them. For everyone." As Jiho's fighter raced toward the Terok flagship, he thought about his home, his family, and the future of Earth. He wasn't afraid. He felt at peace. Inside the flagship, Vrax was seconds away from activating the planet-killer weapon when alarms sounded. "Small Earth vessel approaching at high speed," an officer shouted. Vrax looked up at the screen just in time to see a human fighter smash through the ship's hull and into the main power core. The explosion started small but grew quickly. The flagship's damaged systems couldn't contain it. Secondary explosions rippled through the massive ship, tearing it apart from the inside. From Earth, everyone watched as the Terok flagship erupted in a ball of light that outshone the sun for a brief moment. When the light faded, nothing remained but scattered debris. "Captain Jiho did it," Jiwoo said softly. "He saved us all." With their leader and flagship destroyed, the remaining Terok ships began to retreat. Those that could still move gathered their forces and limped away from Earth, back toward deep space. In the days that followed, Earth began to rebuild. Cities lay in ruins and millions had died, but humanity had survived. And more than that, they had won. 1 week after the battle, Admiral Hyun stood with Commander Jiwoo, Dr. Minho, Dr. Sora, and Yuna at a special ceremony. They were honoring those who had given their lives to save Earth, with Captain Jiho Ryu's name at the top of the list. "Today, we remember our heroes," Admiral Hyun told the crowd, "but we also look to the future. The Terok thought we were weak because our technology wasn't as advanced as theirs. But they didn't understand what makes humans strong. It's not our weapons or our ships. It's our spirit, our creativity, our willingness to fight for our home." After the ceremony, Dr. Minho approached Admiral Hyun. "The quantum algorithm we created, I've been thinking about how to use it to improve our defenses. If the Terok ever return or if other aliens come, we'll be ready." Admiral Hyun nodded. "Good. And we'll send a message to the stars. A warning to any who might think of attacking Earth in the future." "What message?" asked Jiwoo. Admiral Hyun looked up at the sky where the stars were beginning to appear as evening fell.